All right, looks like we're getting everybody in here. I've got some folks in the chat. Let's see.
Are you ready to get started?
Your presenters stand ready.
All right. All right, everyone. Let's get rolling. It's a Wednesday, and I know everyone's it's hump day, right? So I know everyone is busy. Always on a Wednesday. Welcome everybody to our gosh, I can't even remember, fourth, I think it is, training that we're doing for faculty and getting you all ready for this fall and our online experience. And today, our trainers again today are Tim Foster and Diona Williams, and this is kind of a continuation from Monday, but today's training is really on how to set up your modules and how to set it up for your first day. They're going to go through, again, we've been talking about wanting to have a standardized setup for our students so they have a consistent experience. So they're going to talk about setting up the first day modules for our students and how to set up so the students, when they come to your classroom, the first thing they see is a consistent message from faculty throughout the classroom. So they're going to show us how to set that up. And then they're also going to talk about engaging students online through discussion posts and the like, and how to get those conversations really going. So with that being said, I am going to turn the time over to them. As a reminder, please make sure you put your names in the chat box as just one of those other references we can use as a roll call. We'll also use of course, the call-in information and whatnot, but it always helps to have your names in the chats and say hello. And again, with all the other trainings, please put your questions in the chat box unless directly solicited from the trainers, because we do want to make sure that we respect everybody's times within the time that we're allotted with you. This will be recorded, and we'll make this recording available via YouTube link. But with that being said, I think I covered everything. But with that being said, I'm going to turn the time over to Diona and Tim.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to start with just welcoming you all and start with a prayer. So Tim, I don't know if who or what would start the prayer, but go ahead. I can't hear you.
Ah, there we are.
Okay.
Usually I ask for that from the wider audience. Do we have a volunteer that would like to do the prayer?
I can go.
Thank you, Camillus.
Right. تناطقكم ثم تنتكي هم ما سمعتش ما شفتوش هم بعد ما شيء آجم جميع كوي بق سبتات كم ما يعني تمش كم قاعد ناتكو إماس شيب كندب. So for all the friends that are present today, for those who couldn't be present, and for all those that we affect with our work, for all these things and for the things that are happening in the nation, that everything might come to some fruitful end, and that we will all benefit from whatever happens. For all these things, we pray. Amen.
All right, so one of the things that Tim and I are approaching this in a more conversational approach. I'll still do some screen sharing, and I keep looking to my left, which may be y'all's right, because I have our agenda through my phone. So one of the things that we want to talk about is the cell phone. And Tim, if you want to start by leading the discussion, so we had a lot of conversation about the purpose of using cell phones and why students may be using them, and why this is important as instructors to understand how to approach your courses and modules. So what I will say while Tim's pulling everything up, and I think I said this on Monday, I realized, I want to say this past week with my students, because I set up a page where it has most of the links inside of it, as far as what I want them to do that week, but there are a couple of links that I didn't include. I realized that's why some of the students weren't submitting some of the work. But then I also realized it's because they're using their cell phone. And I know, again, I know if you're teaching like writing courses, or if you're requiring students to do any kind of major writing assignments, just think about some of them maybe using a tablet, maybe using a cell phone. So you have to, I would just recommend like somehow teaching them how to still format these things on a cell phone or tablet. I know that sounds kind of bizarre. I can't believe I'm saying that, but if they don't have access to a computer, we just have to think of other ways that we can still have the students produce what it is that we're wanting, but also recognizing that they're using the tools that they have. So one of the things that I adjusted this week was making sure that I had all the links on the page. However, out of 25 students, I have 6 students that I know for sure they're using a computer, because they're not missing any assignments, no discussions, nothing, versus everyone else is using some other device. So I don't know if that covers a little bit, Tim.
It does.
Okay.
So what I'm showing you here is the browser has a way to simulate what it looks like on the cell phone. One of the problems with the simulation, you can kind of see in trying to get this thing to scroll down, but it doesn't. So that's an issue with this. It's a developer tool, but that's kind of beside the point. What I want to show you is how this thing works, how it looks. And what we have done is we actually came in, and I'll just go in here. No, not that one. Oh, wait a minute. That would have been perfect. Ah. Okay, hold on. Let me get in this thing this way. And what I'm going to do is go right into our example. And this isn't totally refined yet. So this is something that we're going to talk about. We're going to get this refined. So when I go to modules, I want to show you what this looks like on the phone. So here, I'm going to go ahead and get my developer tool. That's not it. It's a little kludgy, so here we go. So this is what this looks like on a phone. So you can see that if you're looking at a module on a phone, it's going to be very different from what you see on the computer. There's nothing on the sides. There's stuff kind of crammed up on top. You get a little thing here to bring more information down. But as you go through each of these things, if you see what this says, what it is, get to know your instructor, here's student services, and I could scroll down a bit in a different view. But this is how it works on the phone. And I want you to see, and it's a little different here than it is because I'm actually right on the web page. The web page itself, without the app, looks like this. So the website has this dynamic thing where it builds things. Now maybe I want to show you something a little different. Maybe I have, oh, I don't know. Let's say
show
it's
an Android.
An Android, yeah. How about a Moto G4, huh?
There we go.
Yeah, it's the same size. So there's all these really interesting, well, you don't have to get into that. So that's the main point. To look at it from the student's perspective, or grab your phone and take a look. Just go on in and go into the course with your browser, and then all of a sudden, it's going to turn into something like this. How do you have the students, if that's all they have to work with, how do you get them to get through this experience without, heartburn? So that's why I want to show you this perspective, and let's start thinking about how we can get things to come over a phone and look better and actually operate. So do you have any questions regarding this? And don't worry about the tool I'm using to show it. It's in all Chrome browsers, and we'll get into that later sometime if you want.
There's a question, Tim, from Linda. She says, is there a way to see student view on the app I have as the instructor? It's is the same as my view?
Well, if I go to student view, and I can do it with this, and I'm just going to back all the way out and do it again. I'm going to get out of that view. I'm going to go ahead and get into the student view on that course, on that one thing. So here we go, getting started. Now I have to move this tile over because you're on a small screen, right? So hold on. Let me get to the modules. There they are. And then it's on the bottom. Okay, where'd they hide that student view?
I feel like it was on the home page, or are you just trying
Oh,
to
it is. It is. And if you have your home page set up, so here we go. We'll just do it this way. Student view, modules, and now let's turn on the wonderful what's it look like tool. Let me roll this out of the way. That's what the student sees.
Oh.
Okay. And it looks a little different on a tablet too. I mean, you can change the form factor on here, but you know, that's not important. This is the main idea here is this is what it looks like. And if I rotate my phone, this is what it looks like. So, you know, you'll get a really good simulation of what they're dealing with. So I can't even go in here in this control and leave the student view because it's just a perspective, a view in this developer tool. But it's fascinating. So does that answer your question, Linda?
She says thanks.
Sure. And this is what the getting started page would look like on the phone.
Wow.
So you know. Okay.
And then Arlene mentioned I downloaded the Canvas Instructor and Student View on my phone for a quick use. Exactly. And
yes.
So that's what we were trying to state on Monday. It's just, at least if you're able to put it on one of your devices, whether it's a tablet or cell phone, then you can see that perspective as well. Like, what does it look like as an instructor? Say your computer's not working and your only option is you've now got to do your synchronous class through your phone. And if you can at least test that out ahead of time, what is Zoom like doing it on your phone? You'll find it's a little different, but at least you're not missing anything. Students, the class doesn't need to be canceled or anything because you didn't have access yourself. Sorry, my daughter is making lunch in the background. Any other questions about cell phone? Is there instructions somewhere on the TOCC website for students on how to add their TOCC email and Canvas apps on their phone? That's a great question. That's coming from Marcia.
Yes, we did. If you look at the IT page for students, click on that on the web page, on that front page, up on the top upper right-hand corner. They should have a video as to how to do the profiles. Mm-hmm. So if it's not there, let me know and I'll make sure they put one in there. They've been working on that.
All right.
I have my
go ahead.
Tony?
Yeah. Everything I've done, I'm teaching asynchronously. Everything that I've done has been to make it as technology free as I can. For instance, they don't have to print things. They don't have to scan things. But on a phone, I would imagine they can download what I'm putting on there, right? Like a worksheet of some sort. But once they download it, is there an app? It depends on the phone they're using. I get that they maybe can read a Word document. I try to do everything in Word. I have no idea what kind of phones they have. So that's my dilemma, is since I'm doing it asynchronously, and I put it out there, all they have to do is download it and type right into what they downloaded and then upload it. But as far as phones go, are there apps out there that I can say, hey, if you have this kind of phone, or this is an app that lets you open Word documents, PowerPoint documents? Is there anything like that out there for phone utilization?
Absolutely. Tony, go to your app store, whichever device you have, and then you should be able to find Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all of it, Office, everything. It's there. Now, it depends on your phone, right? So,
And that's what I'm saying is I don't know what phones my students have because it really depends on what their phones allow.
that's right.
I'm assuming that they can download it, and then once they download it, they can address it in a Word format. Then all this, and they can use their keyboard on their phone to type in the answers. You know, it is kind of tough because they're writing essays for me and outlines and all that stuff. So this is really a dilemma.
It's very hard. I would say, depending on the quality of the phone, they might start using, speech to text.
Well, well, I'll try to work those out. So far, I've had classes of 25, 26 kids, and they're all seeming to be able to do their assignments from the feedback I get. But with the phone dilemma, I'm going to have to rethink a lot of stuff. And so whatever help you can offer, I appreciate.
I think what I learned last year, even before we went online, is using Google Docs is a really good tool. It's not, I will be the first to say I like my Microsoft, and I oftentimes don't want to move away from that. But a lot of the students that I had in the writing courses was using Google. And so I've tried to not just use Microsoft, but use Google. But even within Canvas, instead of, and this is just an option, I'm not saying you all have to do it, but if there's a way that I can almost avoid them from having to click out to use like Microsoft or Google Docs, I just try to put it in a page. So that way they can at least get the information, and maybe they, depending on how old their phone is, I don't know what the situation is, but maybe they can figure out a way to still complete the assignment that I'm asking them to do, whether it's in Google, Microsoft, or in just text, and text meaning like if you're uploading the assignment or discussion post, it gives you the option to where you can type it directly in to Canvas, or they can upload it in another way. I don't know if that makes sense. Tim, do you think that's good advice?
Well, that's what I try to do with the Word doc. Just so that they can say, okay, now I can just type it directly in here, save it, and then upload it. But I don't think that's going to work with just phones because there's so much involved. It's not worksheet driven. That's the problem. It's they have to create from the get-go. Okay, well, I'll try Google Docs too. That might help. Thanks.
Well, Tony, maybe instead of using a forum, for example, you could use a discussion post, or maybe a private one. Maybe you could use some kind of a Google Doc that you could just share with that individual and go over that. There's a bunch of different things you can do. It's, depending on the student and how you kind of guide them, it might prove pretty easy to use a Google Doc and share it, and then you're kind of prepping the student to share Google Docs in other classes, which is great.
Yes.
Can I interject something here, please?
Yes, Neil.
Yes.
Also, when you're doing your setting up your assignments, when you put in the submission type, you can always have them use the text box also. That has a nice little editor in it that they might be able to use. That way they don't have to mess with Google Docs, they don't have to mess with Word, they don't have to mess with anything. They can do it right inside of Canvas.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Pretty direct.
Yeah. All right, so one of the other things that we wanted to do was recapping the module building, which we pretty much went over that pretty extensively on Monday, but we also kind of want to recap talking about the course mapping too. So I'm going to share my screen and let's make sure. And then we'll start talking a little bit more about some of the features that Neil and everyone else was talking about right now. Okay, so we will go right into assignment. And we'll edit this. Okay, so right here on the bottom, where is it at? It gives you the option if you submit something online where you can click, you want them to do it as a text entry, or they can do it as uploads or media recordings. Tim, do you have experience with the media recordings that you would like to share?
On this one, I don't really use too many media recordings, just kind of due to I'm not sure what they have at this point.
Okay.
But yeah, I generally, if I do that, then it would just be like a phone. You could just do like talking to your phone using your transcription app on your phone or your dictation app, and then boom, take that file, slap it in there. I mean, there's a ton of different ways to do it, depending on if you're using a laptop or a notebook or an Apple or a PC. There's so many different ways. So that's the toughie.
Do you have any suggested apps to do those recordings, like voice recordings?
I do. There's one free app that I always put out there, and it's called Audacity. It's an open source app. It is an open source audio editor. It allows you to put in special effects. It allows you to like take really close edits of the audio and take out the ums and the ahs. Yeah. It also allows you to save it. Now, the problem with it is because it is a open source audio editor, MP3s are a proprietary format. So it won't save out to MP3 unless you put in what's called a lame plugin. Once you do that, you can save to MP3. But if you can't do that and you use it anyway and you save it as a larger audio file, you can still convert it using other tools. There's online file conversion tools, and there may be a few tools that you can download on your machine. For that one, though, we got to be kind of careful. So I would have IT actually vet that tool before you try and use it. So.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll just go back. And as far as course mapping is concerned, if you're using that tool and you're building the modules, basically you're just taking the map and you're implementing it right into the Canvas course itself. We tried to provide as many different approaches and examples on how to do that. If you had additional questions from Monday, we would like to be able to have more discussion about that. If you have questions.
And
or
maybe
Tim, say something.
Maybe one thing to point out would be look at the little green icons on the side.
Yeah.
Those indicate what it is. If it's a link, if it's a discussion, if it's an paper, an assignment with a Dropbox where you turn things in, a quiz. There's all these different icons. So that gives you, once you know what they mean, it gives you a really easy way. So there's some articles, some pages, some links. Diona, if you press on the plus up there on Module 2, the one thing we didn't show you was this is where you would add different things, right? So here's an assignment, a quiz, a file, a discussion, a text header, an external URL, and an external tool, which would be like Turnitin or Zoom or whatever. You can actually put a Zoom link as an external tool and it'll pop in. But it doesn't do anything different than Zoom does, right? If it's Turnitin, you'll get a Turnitin dashboard inside of Canvas in your course. If it's a text header, it's a text header, pretty easy. So you can organize things underneath it. If it's a discussion, it'll go take you to discussions. If it's a page, it'll let you do an HTML page and use that. That's actually what we're doing on our opening of the module. Marcia has a question here. No. Sorry. There is actually a way, Marcia, but I would not advocate that. It is, you can go into your settings on Canvas and change the font type, the backgrounds. You can make it high def, or you can make it high contrast. You can do a lot of things to a web page that the web designers didn't want you to do. And man, I'll tell you what, people do that all the time. So there is a way, but it's not through Canvas itself. However, I have put that out to Canvas as a possibility. So we'll see. People throw in what they like. Canvas organizes all that, and then people vote on what they want to see. It's kind of funny.
Right.
So yeah, that's primarily what I wanted to show here. Thank you, Diona.
No problem. All right. So one of the things that we wanted to talk about more is communication. So communication by way of video or audio, timing, feedback, ideas, and best practices and current issues or workarounds. So when we talk about communication, I believe I mentioned several times that I use videos quite often. And the reason being is, especially in an asynchronous environment, I just want the students to feel like they're still connected some way. I use the audio for usually grading assignments. To me, I find it easier. I can just give my feedback, give comments, whatever the case may be. And it just gives different engagement options for me as an instructor. And then also what I plan to do in the fall is providing, I would like students to feel, if they feel comfortable in wanting to do a video introduction or an audio introduction, so they don't just always have the option of typing. I want to be able to give them that option to choose how they want to engage their peers on the first day of class. And actually, I believe in one of the conversations that you and I, Tim, and Teresa was having, I think we talked about asking students to upload a profile picture. It's just another way to connect. And if they can't, they can't. It's not, they're not losing points of not having that piece in there, but it's just trying to, I don't know, I guess kind of reminding students that you're still in class, but how can you still connect with peers when there's not a regular time in which you're meeting? Another option I mentioned the other day is doing group discussions. And another idea that I've also learned about is maybe you have a discussion post. And traditionally, I've always done it where I have one question and everybody's answering the same thing. But I like the idea of giving the students a choice. So maybe I have 3 or 4 topics within a discussion, but I just give the students the choice of, like, you can either talk about topic number 2 or topic number 4. And as long as they respond to other classmates, 1 or 2 classmates, it's still providing engagement, but also they're getting the opportunity to learn about different parts of that particular subject that we're talking about that week, or unit. I know some of you all say units. So did you want to say something too, Tim?
No, I think that you did a great job. But hey, your audio comments, for example, you might be sitting there with your phone, right? With the
Right.
Canvas Teach app. Then you're like, oh man, you know what? I don't want to type this out. Pff, come on.
The best thing, and I discovered the audio and video responses on Canvas at the end of spring. And as soon as I discovered that, and again, I had my phone and I had on my headphones and I was just giving response after response after response. And it made grading so much easier versus pulling out the computer, typing everything, which I still do. I'm not saying that I never do it, but I'm just thinking, like, if you're deciding to have weekly, assignments that are opinion type of writing, and you have 25 students in class and there's 18 students submitting this work every single week, and we have a timeline in which we're required to get our assignments and things graded. And so I just try to find whatever streamlined process for me, that's what I use. And the audio has been really, really helpful. And the other option, I know we talked about, Tim, that we wanted to show faculty how to set up a YouTube channel. And it's been a while since I've set it up. It's been a while.
Well, before we get off of that,
but go ahead.
Marcia was asking if you could give her an example of an actual audio response to something.
Oh.
It's kind of tough in a mock-up because there's no students in there, but we'll see.
Right. I'm like, it's...
We'll take a look. Maybe we can. Maybe pop into the discussion, yeah.
Okay.
So instead of maybe a response, maybe add something.
And post reply.
There
Okay.
you go.
Now, how can I respond to, I never do this on the computer, which sounds.
Look at the ellipses, the 3 down, the dots over there.
This
Oh,
one?
nope, down on your reply.
Ah,
Right there. Go to topic, edit, and delete. Well, it wouldn't be edit, no. See, I guess this is the difference between a mobile approach and the computer.
I normally do it on assignments. So let me just try. Let me try
Sure.
a route. Because I feel like I've seen that option on assignments, but I've never looked for it on discussions. So let me just say what I've done with discussions. Again, I typically do weekly discussion boards. And so what I do is the students have a day that all of them need to at least respond to the discussion topic. We're going to say hypothetically Saturday. So Saturday night or Sunday morning, I read all of them, and then I make a quick video responding to all of it. And then I upload it for them to see it on Monday. That's just my way of A, connecting with them, and B, so they're aware that I'm reading this stuff, because oftentimes I think students are just like, well, they're probably not reading it. No, I actually am. So that's just an idea. I think I'm going to have to
hit the edit button. There you go. Why don't we just put an audio up in the instruction area?
Okay. So how do we?
I think it's in the WYSIWYG editor.
This part?
Yeah.
Okay. I remember coming across it, but I've never used it.
Well, there's embed image. Yeah.
I normally do audio after students have
After they submit, and you're in your grade book, right? Or speed grader.
Yes. So
hit speed grader.
But there's not going to be an assignment in there.
Nah, we'll see.
Maybe
We might be able to do
manipulate.
something. Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Perfect.
So I click on this icon right here. And again, I've seen this on the computer, but I don't normally use it because it's taking a long time for it to load.
Oh, there's a problem. Flash is required and Flash is something these machines don't allow very often.
Right.
Sorry. There's some components of the internet that are Flash-based that are still in our stuff. Flash was really pervasive, but the biggest problem with Flash, again, was an IT security issue.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we went to HTML5 and we're starting to drop all the Flash out. But there's some pieces that are still out there. And so this is an example of your computer trying to save you from Flash. So
Save you from yourself.
I know, doggone it.
But I promise you, if you download the Teacher Canvas app and you click on Speed Grader, you'll see the same kind of icon, and you can click on it, you record it, and you're just done. Just done. And actually, you can listen to the recording. If you don't like it, you can re-record it if you want to. And then it just uploads and students can listen to it and move on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm just all about trying to find efficient ways.
Yeah, and keep in mind, there's no one tool that does it. So you have a little flexibility there.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I feel like when I'm going to try to explain how to create a YouTube channel, it's not going to be as smooth as how you would probably describe it, Tim. But I can definitely talk about like uploading and what is that process. And then also I believe Dr. Peterson shared with us the other day, like how can you do, like what we're doing now, it's recorded, but it's like live through YouTube. All you have to do is go through your settings and you'll see the actual, it'll say something about like social media, live Facebook stream, or YouTube and some other option. And so as long as you put YouTube, then you can create that upload. I have not used that option yet, but I plan to test it out just to make things a little bit more efficient on my end. But if nothing else, you all can learn how to create the channel itself. And the reason why we want to cover this piece is even if you're teaching synchronous, and say for instance, because it's monsoon season and you're having issues with weather, and it's time to go on with students at 10 o'clock and the audio is acting up, there's so many issues going on. So if you're able to do some of these pre-recordings ahead of time and have students listen to it, then you can have more of a discussion and maybe some other engaging options in your course, like Linda will be talking about this evening in her session. That way you're not, because a lot of us have a lot of amazing content when it comes to lecturing, but you can probably save yourself some time by just doing some recording ahead of time. So let me get out of the shared screen. So Dwayne says it goes to all students who view the YouTube channel. So what I do is I'm assuming with the live link, I don't know enough about live links yet, but I know just in my normal way of doing the channel itself is I keep the link private, and then I embed the link into a page. And so students can access the video that I'm providing for them. It's not public for everyone. I personally don't think everyone needs to hear my thoughts and what's going on in class, but specifically for students, that's been my way of setting it. And so you can set up your settings to where it's not public and it's just for your students. Okay. So Tim is going to show us how to create the YouTube page, and then yes, I'd be happy to show you how I do this. And then another question is, are you talking about private videos or unlisted videos? I'm saying like they're unlisted. I'm probably not saying the right term, but I just know that the only people that can access it is if they have the link. If you don't have the link, then you can't access the video.
And that would be unlisted, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
In my private videos, I'm I'm very specific as to which students can get in and see it. However, the other way to look at it is you're hidden by all the other videos on YouTube. Chances somebody will stumble across yours is pretty remote. So you're protected by the volume pretty much of what's going on YouTube in that way. To create a YouTube channel, and it's been a while, I have one, so it's kind of tough because it's already there.
Right.
So, but I'm just going to go out here real fast. I'll just say create new channel. There we go. This is the down and dirty way to do anything. So here you go. And what I can do is just go ahead and use your browser and you can find the same information. I think I can find a link to this, but it's pretty simple. Basically, I'm actually going to do my first live YouTube stream tomorrow, and I have closed captioning built on it. So I want to see if it does it as I speak. I think it will. I don't know, but I'm going to be busy teaching, so I'm going to double back and look at the live stream later. But this information here is pretty specific. And instead of me blathering about it, I will just say, here, I'll just cut and paste this and put it in the
chat.
You got it. There we go. Love this system. Boy, oh boy, what would I do without it?
And I believe like YouTube will ask you some very basic questions, but it doesn't, it might be 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But as long as you click on like your picture in the corner, it should take you to studio option. Again, I feel like I use it a lot, so I'm just forgetting steps that I use.
Yeah, and to give you an idea, this is actually what I have done in class. I have a class recording here. This is one of my Zoom recordings. Now, I created this in the cloud, and I downloaded the Zoom video to my machine to manipulate it. Yeah, that just bothers me. But if I turn on closed captioning, it actually works.
Right.
So I love that. So I can actually take this video, believe it or not, instead of pointing the students to it this way, I can actually do the same thing as I do in YouTube and share it, right? And to share it, I can embed it. And boy, do I love to embed things. You know, embedding is just the best darn thing. So I'll hit that. I'll copy that embed code, right? And then I'll go to I'll get into one of my getting started modules maybe. I don't know. Get rid of that thing. Let's find a different view here. Start again. Man, once you start using developer tools, the whole world's different. All right. Okay, let me get out of the student view, right? No. Yeah, let's see if I actually captured that. Hoping I did. So let me get into modules. And I'm just going to a few words from your instructor. And this may or may not be here. We're still trying to decide. So I'm going to edit it. I'm going to then, once I see the WYSIWYG editor, that's a what you see is what you get editor, I'm going to slip over to the HTML editor. And I'm then, sorry, I'm moving all sorts of things around on my screen. I'm going to see if I have it. Nah, doggone it. I got to go back and get the embed code. Hold on. Where's my embed code?
I have a question though, Tim.
Yes.
Why do embedded code versus copy? Because I typically just copy the code.
I'll show you. I just like to embed it.
Okay.
And it's just the embed code. It's the same thing. When you copy the code, you're copying the embed code.
Right.
Right? So again, I'm going to share. This time I'll take my time. Stop. Stop talking. There. Embed. Now, I'm sorry I have to move a group chat window here. I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way. I'm going to go back to my class. Sorry, I got to move another screen. Oh, I need big monitors.
Oh.
There, by God. Now, I go back to the rich content editor. That's why I like it. So now, they just go right to it. And it's closed caption. So this is my Zoom thing. So maybe I do this Zoom thing alone. I don't have anybody in there. I save it to the cloud. I download it, upload it, transcribe it, embed it, and that's what you get. A lot of work, but pretty cool. And again, it cuts out all sorts of side stuff.
Right.
Questions.
Because I just did some recordings yesterday, so I'm going to see if I can at least show you all what it looks like. So give me just a moment.
Yeah, I'm going to turn off my share and you take it over there, Diona.
I'm going to do my best here. Okay. All right. So when you do a Zoom recording, and yes, you can absolutely just share it to the students. But just like Dr. Peterson was saying, it's restricted to 90 days. And I don't know about you all, but whatever you create, you might want to reuse it again. Maybe you want to use it 2 years from now or next semester. So if you create that embedded link in YouTube, it'll give you, you can reuse those lectures or whatever conversations that you're wanting to have. Right now it's going to ask me to sign in. So let me sign in. And again, so you guys have to forgive me because usually when I see these, I do them directly on my phone. I know it's bad. But it'll give you the option to where you can download it but with just audio, or you can do it as a shared screen with the audio and the actual visual itself. And so you can do a link or a download. So again, I haven't really did a lot of downloads, but, or maybe there's probably a better way, but I don't normally do it.
You know, there's one interesting thing as you look at the file size on these. Look at the file size, how small they are.
Yeah.
That's good. That makes them easier to move around.
Exactly. And so if I do it on the computer, this is just me personally, I just feel like it's more steps, and every single time I'm forgetting how to do it. How do I get this over to YouTube? But again, I just use it on my phone and I can just drop the link pretty quickly into YouTube. Because at least through the phone, it just says you can share it. And where do I want to share the link to? Oh, I want to share it on YouTube. Click on YouTube and I drop it in and it processes in maybe less than 5 minutes. But I wanted to at least show you guys what it looks like when you have a recording, just in case you haven't done a Zoom recording, you can at least have an idea of what it looks like. And then if you just wanted to share it, maybe you're not interested in doing YouTube, you just want to share this link with students, then you can copy the link and then drop it into your course. So I'll show you what that looks like. So I just copied the link and I'm just going to say a new page and Zoom link. Then we'll go down. I don't know if that's the same one or a different one, but we'll see. Got to move you guys to the other side. So we'll click on edit and same options will pop up. I don't know, I could use either one. The URL link is one option, or I don't think I've tried it this way. I'll just try this other option and see what happens. I have no idea. I don't think it works as well. No, I would just say creating a link. So I just use link to URL and then students can click on that and it'll take them to where I would like them to go. Also, you know what? Another side note on the link itself. So when you receive the email, it'll tell you whether or not this is a shareable link. So actually what I just downloaded, I don't know if it's the same one because there's a link specifically where I can see it. And then there's one if I want to share it with other people. Is there a difference, Tim? Do you know?
When I've done this, I usually see that it puts in a code, a password code for the student to type in.
Okay. Okay.
So that would be not the shareable link, but the sort of the copy, I think.
Right. I think I just need to go back. So
yeah.
Right here it says share recording with viewers. So that's the one, and then it provides you the password.
Yep.
But I would encourage you, if you feel comfortable kind of playing around with the technology, I would definitely, just for the sake of time, because we don't know how long we'll be in this online learning type of setting. So if you're able to do at least an audio recording, so if we have to do this online again next semester, that's one less recording you may have to do. Those of us that have been doing the recordings, we know it is a lot of work. I think it was Teresa Decker that was just saying the other day, like, I'm recording all the time and it can be a little bit overwhelming, especially if you get into editing and all that other stuff too. So if you take the time to do the work, just go ahead and back it up. It'll save you so much time in the future. That's just one of the things that I would highly suggest. I don't know if there's other questions that other people have. All right.
Well,
So,
we're rolling up into about 9 minutes.
all right. I know we said yesterday that we would, this could probably take more than an hour, but do we want to just open up the floor for questions and discussions at this point? Because we can.
Hey, I got a question.
Hey, Rajneesh.
So when you go to set up a module, you put the title in the link. So there's this thing called prerequisite, and there's another called requirement. How are you guys using this? Advantage, disadvantage? Would you like to comment on that? What's the difference?
I could totally make a comment on that. Let me just give me a moment so I can make sure I can switch to the right screen. So when I do the sharing, I can explain. So I feel like I use prerequisites all the time. In the summer session, not so much personally, because it's just a short period of time. So when you go into editing, this is what Rajneesh is talking about. So it says like you have some prerequisite options.
Yeah.
So in the first module, basically you can state whether or not you want the students to go completely through the module itself. However,
can you create your own requirement? Like I want to create a requirement that you have to sign a lab form before you move forward with the labs.
I
believe you would probably want to add that lab form as a page.
Yeah.
And then they would have to hit that page. That would satisfy the requirement, unfortunately. So you might need to make it an assignment where they turn in something.
Okay.
Once done, it's graded, so to speak, and then the requirement is met.
Right.
So there's an option where it states like students must complete one of these requirements.
Yeah.
And maybe, I'm trying to think, right here where I have assignments, or maybe underneath like a page, you can create that.
How about a self-introduction?
Yeah.
Yeah, because right.
So view this item, mark as done, contribute to the page.
I'd say mark as done, but you could say contribute if it's a rolling one, right?
Mark as, what's the difference? Mark as done, contribute.
Mark is done. As soon as they hit introduce themselves, they're in.
Oh, okay.
If it's a contribute to the page, that just means they can just add a little bit and then hit post, or just save that, and then they're in.
Right. Right. And the other thing I would say, I tried to use this system last semester, and I like it. However, there is some cautionary tales, because if a student, and I'm just saying this depending on what your syllabi says, but say for instance, a student does really well in module 1. And they enter module 2, but you have restrictions in terms of them going into module 3. But you also have deadlines within that module 2. So you have to decide, like, do you want to be the instructor that's adjusting the due dates, or do you just say, listen, if you miss it, then you'll have to send it to me through the email. But then how do they get to the other modules, because they never completed module 3, but the rest of the class may be on module 4 or 5. And so I haven't quite figured out a way to make that work for both myself and the students. But I just find like some students would get so far behind, and then I felt like I was creating more work for myself, where I'm now having to go back and undo these like module prerequisites, just so people can get to where I need them to be with the rest of the class. That's a total personal preference. I don't know if those of you that have been teaching online, if you want to give feedback to that. I feel like Neil gave some great advice. I probably mentioned this on Monday. Like, you say to students, like, if you miss 2 weeks worth of modules, then that's it. Like, you can't make up the time or whatever. But that's up to you on how you want to do it.
Okay. All right, that is the question I have, because I was thinking the same thing, like having completed one module, then you go to module 2, the prerequisite is you have to complete one, but then I thought, okay, what will happen if they cannot?
I'm telling you, it happened. And, you know, pre-COVID, I was already teaching this course online. So I was teaching a course online already. And when you get one student or 5 students that are at different places in different modules, it's a headache. And it's just like, you know what? I don't even want to have this prerequisite on there because I already have due dates within the assignments and discussion posts. And when we are rolling with 25 students in a class, that's going to be a lot for, I think, for instructors to manage, unless there's another form or fashion that those of you that have been teaching online for a while that you would recommend.
Okay, that's the question I had.
It's a great question, though.
Thank you.
So just to be clear, when they complete the module, what they're doing is you'll see all the green check marks on the side of the module will be done. And then
Right.
the module's completed, and then it goes to the next one. So there are ways, unless you have a way to stop them to go to the next thing in the module, there are ways just to blast through the module and get to the next one, just so you know. So there's ways to scam it, game it a little bit, but it depends on how you set it up.
Right. I think Linda has a great question. What happens if you set the due dates but accept assignments after the due date? There's a setting to allow you to accept late assignments. Yes, you can also add additional due dates. That's up to you. And I've used Neil's approach, which is you have late points for each day. Or in my case, what I'll do is I'm like, for summer session, most of everything is due by Tuesday. If you don't get it in Tuesday, you have till Saturday to submit. And I've already graded everything at that point by Saturday. So if it's a 0, it's a 0. But if I get assignments by Saturday, then I can change that 0 to a 7 points or something. Is there an open date when the module opens up? Yes. It gives you that option too. Let me see if I can. I feel like they're.
I believe it's off that ellipses, yeah.
Is it? Oh, lock
Lock
until.
until. Mm-hmm.
And so you can say, I want this to be locked until Friday the 3rd.
Done.
And so it won't unlock until that day.
So an event can change, moving on to the next item, or a date.
An event can change. Say that again.
So an event can move you along to the next thing, or a date. The event was the requirement, right?
Yeah, yeah. If you have it set up that way.
Yeah.
You know.
But carefully think about your curriculum. And is it something that needs to unfold, or should they have access to everything all at once? It's just a philosophical thing.
Right. I personally, or from what I've seen, do I have a couple of students that probably could have gone through 15 modules, I don't know, in a month or 2? Sure. But then when I think about the engagement piece, and I want all of the students to be engaged each week, I'm a little apprehensive of letting everyone just move along. I think it just depends on the course and what you're teaching. So I tend to do more of a week to week. But I know that we have faculty that teach in units, so that may look completely different. I just think it depends on your content and what you're providing.
Great. Any other comments out there? Okay. Looks like we're down to 12:31, Curtis.
All right. Good job, you guys, and I'm sure there's still many questions. And so I've been talking a lot about this Canvas thing, and there is links that we'll have for everybody to ask more questions, because there are a lot of features in Canvas that you can use, and so but there is a lot of good help features and a lot of good Canvas videos that you can utilize to continue these. That we just wanted to show you the basics and help you get started on building your classrooms. Tim, Diona, did you want to mention anything about the startup module that is being developed?
That's actually what I was showing in the phone view. So we're working on that. We have an opening page that we're going to look at. We have to discuss it a little bit more, and then we're going to look at those modules, the way that module is set up, and we might make a few adjustments there. But we're getting close. I think we're pretty much in agreement how it should be. Problem is how do I get it spread out around all the courses? I might have to do it manually at first. I'm up for that. No big deal. We'll get it out there one way or another. So that's how it's sitting right now, Curtis.
Yeah, just so everybody knows, there will be a startup manual, so our module, so our students, when they go to your Canvas page, it'll start with that module to kind of help students guide through, so they have a consistent experience across all our classrooms. So we'll be willing that out soon, so everybody can do that. Neil, you have your hand up?
Yeah, this is more along the lines of these sessions in general. For the full-time faculty, at least, can we use these as professional development? These sessions?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
Is that question?
I'm feeling professional.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
For sure. All right, everybody, I want to make sure we respect everybody's time. Again, if you have any questions, please email Diona, Tim, or myself. And I hope everybody has a wonderful day. So we do have a follow-up Zoom training this evening at 5 o'clock. It's on Zoom. If you didn't get that invite by any chance, please email me and I'll send you out the link. And it's just going to go a little bit more in depth into the Zoom application that was requested by some of you from that last training. So I hope to see some of you at 5 o'clock again. And with that being said, I think our next training is, except for that follow-up one, I believe is next week, correct? On course standards. And this will be done by Dr. Teresa Newberry. And what this one is really once you get your class established, it will be using kind of a rubrics to really see if your class really meets some good standards of practice, to make sure that really what we want to make sure is that your online class really meets the rigor of what you would do in a face-to-face class that we all know that you provide. So she's going to provide some really kind of a rubric that you can use, that you can apply to your class, your online classroom, to make sure you're meeting that rigorous standard that we should be making sure we're using in higher education. So, but with that being said, I want to thank Diona and Tim for their great job today. And I will see you all soon, I hope, and take care.
Curtis, this is Tony. Am I still on next week also?
Yes, and Tony is, I believe, next Friday, correct?
I think it's the 7th.
7th, yes. So, and Tony is next week as well, and he has some great information from research that was done on online experience for people who have never done online classes but were forced to because of the COVID thing, and some best practices that we can use for students who have to go online, and how we can make sure we're meeting their needs. So that's next week as well. So, all right, everyone. We will see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. This was helpful.
See y'all. Be safe.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Domnie.
Domnie.